Welcome. This is British National Party Television, coming to you from Blackpool Crematorium. Now, we're here today because party officials are constantly being asked about the Charlene Downes campaign. So we thought we'd come here. We invited Mrs. Charlene Downes to come and speak to us and tell us how things are going along. But before I speak to Karen, I thought it might be helpful if I gave our viewers a reminder of what this campaign is all about. In 2007, two Muslim men, one called Mr. Aveshi and one called Mr. Albertiki, stood trial for the murder of Charlene Downes, a 14-year-old girl whose memorial is just behind me here. Now, everybody who sat through that trial and listened to the evidence was convinced that the two men would be prosecuted for murder. However, when the jury reached their conclusions, they told the judge that they were unable to reach a unanimous verdict. Now, in this country, in England and Wales, in order to achieve a conviction for murder, it is essential that the jury vote unanimously in favour of a guilty verdict. In Scotland, a simple majority will do, but in this country, unanimity is required. However, such a system is obviously open to gross miscarriages of justice, because if 11 members are convinced of the guilt of a defendant, whilst one is unwilling to vote for a guilty verdict, that would mean that monsters could easily walk free. So the system, the procedure is that if there isn't unanimity on the jury, a retrial is automatically ordered. And that's what happened in this case. The judge, when the jury had told them that they were unable to reach a unanimous verdict, he immediately ordered a retrial. However, to everybody's shock, within a month of the trial, or a couple of months, the CPS announced that there would be no retrial. Okay. Suspicions were further increased when the two men were awarded large amounts of compensation, £250,000 apiece. Now remember, the jury did not return a verdict of not guilty. They were not cleared of murder. It was just that the jury had been unable to reach a unanimous verdict, and neither did they go through the full procedure and have a retrial. So that raised suspicions further. However, the thing that really began to anger Karen and her team was the fact, when it emerged shortly after the trial, that the police had received considerable evidence that one of the jury members was in the pay of Mr. Albertiki, and there were a number of witnesses to this effect. So it was for those three reasons. Proper procedure was not followed, compensation was awarded despite the fact that these two men had not been cleared, and thirdly, there was really credible evidence of jury rigging. So following that, Karen and her team embarked on a campaign to try and persuade the authorities to hold a retrial. There were protests, there were church services held. Karen has written to numerous people and had interviews with people. Most people, when they hear Karen's story, are extremely sympathetic to her cause. But throughout this period, the CPS have steadfastly refused to hold this retrial. Now, Karen, how are things going on?
Well, there is a new investigation. There has been since 2014. The problem being, though, the police are constantly in touch with me, but they're telling me there's new leads, but that nothing's coming of them. I just think that we're getting nowhere fast with it, if I'm honest.
You don't think things are progressing at all?
No. They're just going over the same thing over and over again. witnesses. They're questioning witnesses that have already been eliminated from the case and things like eliminated at the last
You don't
trial.
think they're taking it seriously?
No, I don't, and I don't think they're doing enough.
One thing I would like to ask you about.
Yeah.
You had a major success in your campaign in that you persuaded the Panorama team
Yes.
to mount an investigation and then do a documentary
That's
on,
right.
on the case. And they were extremely sympathetic
they
to it.
were really understanding. They were really good, the Panorama team.
And one of the things they brought out was that during the original trial,
Yes.
6 children gave evidence to the effect that they had been abused by
That's
these
right.
2 men.
Yes, they have.
And they also
That's
discovered that since the trial,
Yeah.
a large number of allegations have been made against, especially Mr. Albertini,
Absolutely, yeah.
sexual abusing both children and women.
That's right.
And yet he seems to continuously evade prison. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know. I just think to me, it's all to do with money. I think he pays people. In my opinion, he pays people off. He's got a really good lawyer, and all that money that he's made. You know, I don't know whether that's true or not, but I wouldn't be at all surprised with him.
There are
given his
rumours
reputation.
There's rumours swirling around Blackpool
Yes.
that Mr. Raveshi and Mr. Albertini are at the head of a Muslim paedophile gang, that they use the takeaways that they own to suck young girls in, they groom them, and then they supply them to rich and powerful Muslims throughout Lancashire. And it's these rich and powerful Muslims that are protecting Mr. Albertini and Mr. Raveshi from serious investigation by the authorities. Do you think that's possibly true?
I think that could possibly be true, yes, because somebody's protecting him. If somebody came forward and gave the proper evidence, these 2, I'm sure, would be convicted by now.
You were convinced of their guilt at the
absolutely.
original trial?
I heard the tapes. There wasn't a doubt in mine or my family's mind. No.
Well, anyway, we know you've not had success to date with your campaign, and I know you're going to continue.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But I think we all are grateful to you because you have exposed and illustrated a very important fact, and that is that the system, the regime in this country are not protecting us from the predatory behaviour of these Muslims
yes.
who have swarmed into Blackpool,
That's
as they
right.
have into many Lancashire towns.
That's right.
And they're committing all sorts of horrors against us, not just
Charlene, absolutely.
abusing children, not
No.
just Charlene,
No, all
not
of
just
them,
the violent attacks, but a whole range of horrors,
Absolutely.
including that one I'm particularly interested in with the
Yes.
herring trade. And those in authority are just failing to protect us.
Yes.
And I think your campaign has exposed that fact.
Yes, and I'm never going to give up on that either.
Good.
I will continue.
Well,
As long as I've got breath in my body, I will continue, and so will my team.
Thanks very much for speaking to
You're
us,
very
Karen.
welcome, anytime.
And thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
listening.